It is wonderful to see you here, to be with you from wherever you are and whenever you are. And we have people from literally all around the world. For some of you, it's afternoon, others, it's morning. Some of you, it's the middle of the night. You know, sleep is important for happiness. And yet we're happy that you're here. Today we have a very, very special guest whom I will introduce in a moment. But before I do, just to let you know, there is interpretation both in French and in Spanish. So if you're interested in interpretation, just go below, click on languages, interpretation, and on your chosen language. Um, Here is how what we're going to do today. I'm going to start with a very brief introduction. Then our guest is going to join us. I'll be asking him questions for about 30 minutes or so, and then I'll open it up for your questions. And to ask a question when the time comes, what you'll have to do is very simply raise your hand, just like I did now. That's clicking below on raise hand. Um, so let me introduce our guest, our very, very special guest. Fabrice Midal is a French philosopher and teacher, and he's known for bringing meditation back to something that is simple, something that is alive, and something that is deeply human. In his work, in his writing, in his work as a teacher, he bridges East and West, modern philosophy, and ancient wisdom. He became one of the major figures of the contemporary contemplative movement in France by insisting that meditation is not a technique to optimize oneself, but rather an art of being present, vulnerable, and genuinely available. Now, he also founded Rezo, that's R-E-S-O, which is a large community dedicated to transmitting meditation in a way that is demanding, accessible, and rooted in culture rather than dogma. Across his work runs a single thread: to help people rediscover dignity, courage, and the simple act of being fully themselves in the world. For me, most importantly, is that he's a dear, dear friend and an esteemed teacher. Fabrice Midal, thank you. Welcome. So wonderful to see you here.
So thank you so much. I apologize because my English is not so well and it's so long time I didn't speak English. But it's a great joy to be with everyone and with you. And like you said, we know each other for a very long time. And I have a great admiration for you, so I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Fabrice. You know, um, there's something that's above my pay grade, and that is the whole idea of synchronicity. Do things happen because they're supposed to happen? Is there such a thing as the law of attraction, meaning we attract certain things into our lives when they need to come? But I must say, you came at the right time, or this conversation with you came at the right time, because I'm having many thoughts and feelings, and I'm spending a lot of time thinking about the present, meaning the here and now, meaning meditation. More and more, I see it as the path, maybe the ultimate path to happiness. And in a different way than and we've talked about this, for many times, but in different ways than I have in the past. I don't know if it's age, I don't know if it's, I don't know, experience or just a coincidence. But I want to hear from you before we start and we dig deeper into the present. What is your prescription for a happier, better life, if you have one?
Ah, um, ah. there's so many things, but I will say to find a way to be open to something like the true nature of love. Because when I had a very painful childhood and I was very unhappy teenager. And the first time I practiced meditation, completely by accident when I was 21, I knocked at the door. I heard about meditation, and because I was studying already philosophy at La Sorbonne, meditation, Descartes write about meditation. I was just curious. And I was very lucky because the man who opened the door was a very important neuroscientist called Francisco Varela. Maybe we'll talk about him later. And he made me practice, and I felt it was very difficult, excruciating. But I felt for the first time, it's okay to be who I am. And for me, that was a flip. It's not an understanding. From all my being, I felt whatever my problem, my difficulties, at the bottom of my being, it's okay to be who I am. And you could say it's a kind of love. I felt I'm loved. And I think um, the real meaning of love that we are loved and it's completely, there is no reason. It's completely crazy. We are loved and there is never any good reason why we are loved. No good reason, no reason. It's it's very strange. And I find for me to connect with that make us happy because the difficulties, the obstacles change completely. We 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 feel there is a way we can connect it with everything. Everything is workable because this kind of love you can lost it. Even if you are in difficulty, this love is there and it don't move. So I will
So
say for
you experienced that when you were 21, the first time
yes.
you went to, the first time you
Yes.
meditated.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it was not a crazy realization, but I just felt, there, it's okay to be confused. It's okay to be how I was. There is no,
You're muted, Fabrice. You just,
see, I don't know why. I felt there is nothing I should do. There is nothing to gain. Like you said in your introduction, I don't need to optimize my mind. It's okay. And yes, I think for me, doesn't mean that there was no obstacles, that I don't lost it, and I always have to come back to that. But for me, and all what you work and write in your book help to find back the way, to go back to this profound space, but this space that is not by becoming someone else, not by becoming better, not by becoming so and so, that finally we will have the right to be happy.
yeah.
And we have this tendency to say, I will be happy when I will be better, when people will be better, when the war will be over. I will be happy when, and you never, and it's a battle. It's a it's a battle. So I find happiness becomes the fact that everything becomes a challenge, but not anymore a competition where you are always afraid that you're going to be put back.
So what I'm trying to understand or derive from it is a prescription. So is the prescription go out and meditate? Is it gain an insight that will make a difference?
It's very difficult to make a prescription because it's so, it's how do you have this experience? We all have this experience in one sense. For me, it was through meditation. maybe people through art, maybe through going through nature, maybe in a relationship. At one point, you feel something is good without no reason. So we all have that. So the prescription is, what can I do to not cover this glimpse of life, this glimpse of love, and what kind of discipline I could have to be faithful to this glimpse. So I will say, first prescription to recognize that. Normally, we don't recognize that. We dismiss because we think it's not so important. No, I could have said that, I practice, I feel it's okay to be who I was, and I could say, yes, but how I'm going to do my work and how I'm going to do that, and you completely lost it. Donc first is to recognize that the sources of happiness is more ordinary than what we think.
Mm.
And I could go back on that because I think is really one of the main obstacles. We're looking for something extraordinary always, and happiness is very ordinary. But it's a very extremely big problem. And two, what kind of discipline I could have that will help me to be faithful to what is the most important for me. So I would say that the two prescriptions I will advise. But you have to give up many things. I was very involved in Buddhism and spirituality, and people would tend to be interested. There is this idea that there is something like enlightenment. Some people are more high than others, and that make you feel you have a problem with you. You have to go higher. You have to attain something. And I think it's a big problem. I really more and more think it's a big mistake. And the real great master I saw, they was not enlightened in all the representation we have. But they were so okay to be who they are. And I was just in Bhutan some months ago, and I met a very important teacher who really, I find almost all teachers are not really a real teacher, is a long story, but he was and I really felt he was just okay to be who he is. I found that very amazing, just to be okay, and in this way, faithful to this, I don't know how to call it, the scandal of love. Love is a scandal. It's a scandal because we don't deserve it. The great meaning of any big spirituality is you are love and you don't deserve it. It's a scandal. And we refuse this scandal. We merit that we will be loved. And that really makes us so unhappy.
So I'm hearing two things that make us unhappy. First of all, the belief that we need to somehow earn it.
Yes.
Earn this love. And second, this idea that we can actually attain enlightenment, or
Yes.
for that matter, that any goal and its attainment will make us happy.
Yes.
So we need to do away with that.
Yes, because the question of the goal, we refuse to be human. I think 75% of everything you hear about spirituality, self-help, they just teach you how not to be human. If you become like a complete machine, you have complete control over your life, here you will be happy. And people don't realize it's just completely false. And it's exactly what makes us unhappy. Because we are human beings, and being in a conflict, in a battle against the fact that we are human, it's completely, we will never win. I know that some people think we're going to create a new human being that is not human, that he will be like a machine, but it's completely nuts. So we are always in a battle. We are in a battle with our emotion. We are in battle with our vulnerability. We are in a battle, the fact that we need help, that we need other, and that makes us so unhappy. I think that really we are in a. It's like we we learn to be against the fact that we are human.
Mm.
And and I think it's the contrary. We have to be to learn to be human with our very profound vulnerability, which make us being able to be touched by the world, touched by other, and not trying to become so close.
Mm. And one of the ways to learn it would be meditation, would be
Alors,
present moment awareness.
yes, but meditation now, the meditation I'm doing and the meditation I'm practicing is almost the contrary of what people call meditation now. It's like movies. You have movies for entertainment, and you have movies by artists, and you have movies of propaganda. The same word, but different reality. Meditation have very different meaning now. For a lot of people, meditation is a tools to control my life up to the fight I'm going to die by controlling so much. I have to control my life. I have to control my emotion. And so many people think of meditation as a over-controlling way. And for me, it creates a lot of problem. And that will be the first problem. The second problem is people think meditation is a way that I will become calm. Also, the way I will not accept my vulnerability and my emotion. If I have too much emotion, if I'm sad, angry, that means I have a problem. And through meditation, I should make me calm. I think that is also a complete mistake that have, for me, nothing to do with meditation. Meditation is embracing what it is, as it is, without any judgment. So it's really changing completely our relation to our life. And that make a completely shift about what is meditation.
Yeah.
And it's very tricky because I saw how everything changed. You know, when I was young, you couldn't meditate outside of a Buddhist group. I was in France, one of the first one to say, I'm going to teach meditation without being a master, just talking about my experience of meditation. And it was very surprising. After there was all the work of mindfulness and meditation start to develop. But now is another problem. This mindfulness approach become very technical, very like a tools that we have to use. And I think that really become more a problem than an help because you avoiding what is painful in your life. And like you know more than me, every time I want to avoid what is painful, to try to be happy, I become less happy.
Mhm.
I have to relate with the difficulties to be able to change, to kind of transform the difficulties. And uh, honestly, I know people think sometimes I'm very provocative. What for the large, what is presented in what is generally presented as meditation, I will personally never will like to engage into it. And when I thought about the young man I was, so vulnerable and oversensitive, that will have been very difficult for me. Maybe I have to say something. I'm completely oversensitive. I didn't know when I was young. We know more now what it is and how it changed
Mhm.
our brain. For me, trying to make me more calm, trying is a disaster. If I feel just more guilty to be who I am. And the genius of this meditation I receive and I transmit now is that it helped me to embrace my nature of human beings, to embrace the fact I'm vulnerable, and I feel my emotions very intensively when I was young and now. Meditation didn't change the intensity of my emotion. It changed the way I can relate with them. It changed the way I can dance with them. I can listening them. I feel more, I will not so ashamed about them. So I think this whole idea that meditation will make me calm down is very for me dangerous. Also, meditation is helpful when it's really aware of being very kind to ourselves.
Mm.
And this is a way to being very kind to ourselves, to relate to who we are. And in my sense, like the book I write in English was translated uh, the French art of not giving a shit of our problem. But maybe the translation is not so good. Maybe the way of couldn't care less. At one point, I don't grasp on what is happening. It's okay. We could say
Mm.
the title of my book could be maybe more, it's okay. I'm anxious, it's okay.
Mm.
Just by doing that, something move. The battle, there is something like the battle dissolve.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know, when I read your book, and it's a book I highly, highly recommend, The French Art of Not Giving a Shit, I felt like a weight was lifted off my
yes,
shoulders. It's suddenly, oh, it's okay not to be okay. It's fine to just be as is. And and you shift the focus there from the need to be calm to seeking peace
yes,
instead. In other
yes,
words, not fighting with
yes.
those elements of ourselves, of being human.
Yes, I try to make the distinction between peace and calm, because you could feel sad and in peace with your sadness. You can feel voilà, a little bit anxious and be in peace with the fact you are anxious because it's what happening. Like now with the situation in the world, we could be anxious and sad, and at the same time be in peace because these feelings are related to the fact that we care for the world.
Hmm.
And that maybe make more clear the distinction I try to make between calm and peace.
Yeah. So, two things you said about how we approach meditation. First is being very kind to ourselves. And the second one you said a bit earlier is embrace what it is as it is without any judgment. And I love this as a summary of what is meditation. Embrace what it is as it is without judgment. Now, here's my question to you. One of the things that we teach in the Happiness Studies Academy is nutrition. And when I talk about it, I say that the world of nutrition is very confusing
Ah, yes,
because you have people who say, "Oh, only vegan." Others who say, no, 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 go paleo, just meat. And the problem, and everything in between and more. And the problem is that all the writers and the speakers and the experts have research. Look at this study that shows that when you just do protein, then you live happily ever after. If you do Mediterranean, that's the best for you. And again, they have data. It's confusing. And I feel somewhat similar when it comes to meditation, because there are so many different types of meditation, so many approaches to meditation. So is it possible to simplify it for me, for us? I mean, is it loving kindness meditation? Is it breath meditation? Is it maybe Tai Chi or Qi Kong or yoga
I
or
will
all of the
say
above?
it's not completely the same like for nutrition,
Nutrition.
because the question is not what kind of meditation is good or what different kind of meditation is. What is our intention when we do meditation? Every kind of meditation could be good. You could do yoga, tai chi could be good. It's like yoga. Many yoga class become a competition. You try to be better.
Mm.
You try to be the more successful. So the question is not which technique is, does my attitude is to open more and more profoundly to what it is, to the ordinary, or I use this approach to fight against the ordinary, to fight against the fact I'm human, to
Mm.
try to achieve a kind of super ego that will master things, and or does that help me to become more, to be more friend with my own vulnerability? And that is, I will say, the 4 or 5 questions you could ask, and you could do whatever you want. I will not say it's not one meditation that is good. And when you look the stories of meditation over 2,500 years, you see this problem is not our problem. Every
Mm.
time there is someone who say, I get the way to do meditation. If you do that and that and that, you will you will get somewhere. And you have like the 6 patriarchs in China. So the 5 patriarchs in China thought, if someone write a sentence, I will see if deserve to become the new patriarch. And someone write, if I clean my mind and do things very perfectly, every day my mind will be pure. And a very young man who was working in the kitchen and was illiterate asked someone to write and said something like, which sound quite strange, but where is my mind? Where is the mirror? What does I need to wash anything? And the 5 patriarchs said, you understand the point. So you already see
Mm.
that there was this idea. Some people said, we want to do it right. We want to achieve something. And I'm the master because I know better than you. And someone arrived and said, in one side, like in the title of my book, is one side is what this young man said who becomes the 6 patriarch. Don't giving shit. I have to go to an other dimension. Like I said before, we could say love. And it was, again, I can tell you many stories. In one thanks Dogen, with the founder of Zen, everybody trying to say, I have to practice to achieve enlightenment. And Dogen go to China, he was a Japanese, he go to China, he tried to understand. He arrived in China, and here he saw an old man who was buying some mushroom, and he said, why you don't stay with us for the night in the boat? And said, no, I have to go back to my monastery. I have to cook. And Dogen said, but we are talking about very spiritual things. Why do you care to do mushroom cooking? You are old. And the guy said, you didn't understand anything about Dharma. And Dogen had this whole idea that becomes then, when you meditate, you touch enlightenment. You don't meditate to become enlightenment, but every time you meditate, your meditation is enlightenment. So I can
Mm.
tell you stories all over the time. It's not that there is many approach of meditation. There is always this tendency. We do the same thing now. We use meditation to go in a battle against present, against ordinary, to become someone better. And that the best way to be very unhappy and to miss the point of meditation.
Mm. So, Fabrice, you meditate every day.
Yes.
Why? What, and so I know you have the intention going into meditation but what, you must be pretty good at it by now.
Uh, so there is two questions. First question, why I'm doing it? Because every time I'm doing it, I realize I am just complicate my life. Every time I said that, why I'm fighting all the time. I come back and I said, oh yes, there is a place where I don't need
Mm.
to fight again. And every time, every day I need to learn it again. So
To
it's
remind yourself, to refresh it.
to refresh it. I would say it's like taking a shower of of freshness.
Yeah.
I just make the experience again that you can't make it with your head. It's like with my own whole being, I just felt, wow. I almost make the same experience that when I start the first time. Wow, I don't need to do anything to be okay. But to be honest, all day, every day, I forget. I have to do so many things, and I always want to be better and to learn. Fine, fine. If I come back to this space, which is so good that it's okay to be as I am. And so
Okay,
that
so
that's the yes, that's the why I'm doing it every day.
every day.
And uh, and the second, if I become good at it, no, because like all teachers said, all in the Zen tradition, meditation you have to become like you are always like a beginners. It's not like something you become master. You know, as writing, I write many books. I'm very good at it. As a publisher, I learn many things. As a practitioner, I will say it's always new, it's always fresh. It's a space when I become like a child in one sense. Is something where I don't need to be good. I don't need to be a master of anything. I, I come as I am, and I'm accepted as I am.
And you
And
come as you
it's a
are.
relief. Yes, I come as I am, and sometimes I come completely tired. Sometimes I come touch, move, sad, and it's okay. And just by doing meditation, doing this experience, it's okay. It's so profound. It's every time, it's not every time, but the movement is very profound.
Mm. And each time you come in with the intention of embracing what it is as it
Yes,
is
yes.
without judgment.
And more, the only thing I would say, over the year, I'm doing less effort. When I was young,
Mm.
I was trying, yeah, I have to practice, I have to do it right. I have more confidence. Uh, I will say I have a little bit more confidence that I don't need to make so much effort. There is a kind of trust in space, trust in life, trust in love. I would say meditation is, for me, is very much like trust in space, trust in life, trust in love.
Mm.
The space,
Space,
the
life, and
space,
love.
yes, because the space beyond us, the space and life, because life is always, you can trust life because life is always no more than us. It makes us growing and love.
Mm. Um, we're going to open it up for questions. Unfortunately, I cannot monopolize you for the hour and a half. So if you do have questions, please put your hand up and we will call on you in a moment. I do want to remind you to make your question a question and a short question, please, so that we can get to as many of you as possible. Just one last thing before we open it up for questions. Fabrice, you know from my work that I talk about the three R's of change: reminders, repetition, and rituals. And the reason why I talk about the first R, reminders, is because we forget. There's a lot of research on gratitude, and everyone would say, yeah, of course, I want to appreciate my life, my loved ones, and yet we forget to appreciate them. So I talk about reminders, and a reminder can be a meditation, a reminder can be something on our phone, it can be a picture on our wall, and it can also be a bracelet. So right now, I'm wearing this bracelet as a reminder to come back to presence. So I could be having a conversation with my friend, and I'm distracted, and I look at my hand and I see this, and I say, "Oh, get back." Can we use this as a way, this reminder, or any reminder for that matter, as a way to meditate informally? In other words, when I'm not sitting down with my eyes closed and breathing slowly and gently in and out.
I will say no.
Why?
For me, I don't think to do that is useless. It could be completely useful, but uh, then there is a need to have something with much more confidence. We don't need to check. Something is just, for me, is why I do meditation at one point. Just a moment where I don't need to remind me anything. I don't need to be better. I don't need to be present. I don't need anything. I just change focus.
So it's dedicated time,
For
you
me,
know, in the morning.
it doesn't mean that in our everyday life we can't use many things, like you said, and how we can work with our own art and work with relationship and all kind of ethics. There is many way, gratitude and many things that could help us in our everyday life. But for me, at one point, it become not embodied enough.
Mm,
If we don't do this practice, which is very, very, very profound. When I received this practice from Tibetan master, and it comes from the most high Tibetan master, but like I said, you could find that in the true Zen teacher, but also in many different traditions. In Christianity, there was like oraison. We know a lot of pray, but there was this kind of practice called oraison that was very more known, particularly in the 17th centuries. It's a long story, but in the 17th centuries, there was a lot. And oraison was you do nothing in presence of God. You don't try to ask anything. You don't want anything.
mm,
Just there. And one author I like a lot, which is called Madame Guyon, which was a woman in the 17th centuries, write a book, The Short Way to God, the short way to God, the easy way,
mm.
because yet not everybody is able to do very nice prayer or very difficult practice. But the very simple way is you do nothing, you just open to pure love. So I just say that to show that what I'm talking about is not my things, is I think is very profound in every culture. Uh,
Mm.
you find that also in Judaism, in Hasidism. You could find that when you study very, you have to make careful to the language, but you find that in many, because the Hasidism was also non-intellectual and trying to go back to some kind of ordinary
The
and
experience.
experience and ordinary, and you find come back to this very simple presence in us. And I think that
Yeah.
uh, uh, for me,
That's
we have to come back that. And if we come
that's
back,
what
we we gain the confidence. And when we gain the confidence, we can do what you have in you. You can do whatever you want, but it become an act because you have so much confidence, you can wear that to come back. But if you don't do that, you do that, and oh, I have to do that. And if you start always, you lost this kind of trust, confidence, and I think it become an obstacle.
Yeah.
So again, it's not just everything could be helpful or a little obstacle. It depends again in general setup where it take place.
So you recommend your students that they meditate every day. I mean, do you have a time,
No,
ideal time that
no,
you
I
recommend?
don't, I don't recommend anything. But that's my way because every time you recommend something, it become a big
A
question.
dogma.
No, I try to what I try to make them in love with meditation, with whatever. And I hope by being in love, things enter into them.
And
So
then you hope that they will then take up a meditation practice.
yes, but at the same time, we never know. I don't know. Maybe for some people it's good to meditate every day. Maybe for some, I don't know. I have no idea. I want to make them making this experience, uh, show them that this experience really cure our suffering in a very deep way, that this experience makes us more honest and genuine with ourselves. And after the way they're doing it, I trust them. That's my way. I'm not saying that's the best way, but
Mm.
that's my way. Because otherwise, it become because every time you have to do that every day. When you don't do every day, and to be honest, in my life, sometimes I didn't practice for weeks,
Hmm.
and I don't need to feel guilty. I didn't arrive. I knew I was. It will be better I doing it, but I was not doing it, and no, it's. But something stay in my heart, and uh, and I prefer I prefer to help people to recognize that presence in us and to recognize this very strong misunderstanding that is everywhere. This very big misunderstanding we have, this misunderstanding that we always think we have to control more our life. And it's
Hmm.
very, very awful. It's really our world suffers so much because people are so cut from their own life and own art.
Thank you for that. Um, wow. I'm also reminded the word in Hebrew for God is the same root as the word for presence, being present, and the same root as the word for experience or
Mm.
being. So, Jehovah is the same root as Hoveh, which is present, and Havaya, which is experience. So when so in a sense, the shortest way to God or to the divine or whatever it is for each one is to be present, is through being. Um, okay, Fabrice. So I'm going to call on our those who have their hands up, and there are many of them. Again, please make your question succinct, and look forward to hearing from you. And we'll begin with Luciana.
Hi there. Thank you so much for the talk. My question is, you've both talked about oneself, and my question is, what is your opinion on going beyond oneself as a source of happiness, of being of service, of community, of empowering and enabling others?
It's a very good question. Um, Very good question. We have to, it's a very difficult question because we have to find a way to make our all what I described, finding that we are love as we are, stopping to fight to be better, is not in one sense going into oneself. I really don't think. I never understand people who say, I'm not interested in myself. I don't care so much about myself. I don't meditate for looking at in myself. I'm looking what it is and stopping the fight. So for me, meditation is not a work with myself. It looks like, but for me, it's really working on how to be open to everything, to life, to other. And your question is very important because there is this understanding that meditation is working on ourselves. It looks like because sometimes you sit and you are alone, but not you are alone to opening up to other and to the world. And I'm completely agree with you. It's only to opening to others that we find ourselves, to opening to the world that we find ourselves. Like I always, like when there is a teenager, sometimes people say, what do you want? What do you want to do when you will be adult? And like if the teenager have to look in himself to find what I want to do, it makes no sense. We become who we are by opening to the world, by meeting people. I become a publisher I will never imagine. I write book I will never imagine. It's just meeting people. And I will say we are happy with the encounter we had with people. So for me, if I have to say what makes us happy, but you can't really make it, so it's why I didn't answer that at first when you asked me the question. But from another point of view, I will say encounters. What makes me the more happy is the encounters I met with some people who really changed my life and make my life so more happy. But I will say how to be open to these encounters and being naked enough that it become a real encounter.
So you're
Life is
talking,
full of encounters.
yeah. So Fabrice, you're talking about, and again, this is along, I think, a similar theme. You're saying break boundaries
Yes,
between you and the experience, break
yes,
boundaries between you and other people. So,
absolutely. You say it better than me, but you're really right. I will say all what I'm talking is breaking the boundaries that and yes.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. Thank you, Luciana, for the question. Felicidad.
Good evening. Bonsoir, Fabrice. When you said that you are loved, my question is this entity you talk about, this presence within us, do you mean God? Or this an entity we can call of
For
and
me, because
for
I'm not
you?
for me,
And
it's really, I think from all my bones, I'm very, I would say, well, I don't know. I said, I would say, from all my bone, I'm Buddhist, but sometimes I feel I'm more philosopher, a Greek philosopher. But anyway, Greek philosopher or Buddhist, the idea of God didn't exist, in Buddhism. They don't have this idea. So I will say, I just felt I'm loved, but not for something, not from an entity. I just love, like space. I will say space. I just found the space love me. But I don't, I read very often the Christian, and I talk about oraison, and I know a lot about that. And it's fine for me if you feel you are loved by God. I don't see but you are loved by something completely outside of yourself, something completely other than yourself. And I find that is very profound experience.
And you don't belong to this entity then?
I will not say entity, I would say maybe a presence.
Presence.
Yeah, what is your question again?
If you, when you say that you are loved,
Yes.
you are loved by this entity that I would call God, and which in my case would be what would allow me to tackle fear in my life, because I am loved, something which is above myself but within myself at the same time. What would
Yes.
be
Yes,
for
you
you?
could say that. For me, I will not say in myself. I will say just something completely other. There is one theologian, Christian theologian that I like a lot, who said it's a big mistake that many Christians make. They think they need to love God and think they don't need to be loved because it will be selfish. And he said it's the contrary. If you don't recognize that you need to be loved, you pretend to be God. Is a idolatry mistake. You have to recognize you need to be loved because that touches your vulnerability, you accept your humanity. And I will say it's not I'm not Christian, but I find that very important.
Okay, and this would be what allows you to not to feel so much fear in
Yes,
difficult moments.
yes. But for me, maybe the most important point about love is the scandal of love. It's a scandal. It makes no sense. You are loved not because you deserve it. It's completely, I say that because when you do the experience of what I'm talking, you want to do it. I'm dreaming. It's not possible. I don't deserve it. It brings tears. It brings relief. And I think that we can't believe that it's okay to be as we are because we felt so much all our imperfection. And at this moment, we don't care. There is so much imperfection, and I don't care. It is not something that you are convinced. It's really an experience you made. And for me, this experience is really so simple and could change everything.
Thank you, Felicidad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merci, Fabrice.
Thank you, Fabrice. You know, when you were talking about the Christian theologian who said that, who values, the love of self. If you think about the golden rule in every religion and in most philosophical system, it's something like, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yes.
The foundation of it is self-love, because if you don't have self-love, you cannot love your neighbor. So this is the standard of love. It's a prerequisite in a sense.
Yes.
Sugar Felice.
Gracias desde Barranquilla, Colombia. Para mí es un gusto.
One second, un momento. So Fabrice and everyone else, if you want to hear the translation in English, you go below to interpretation and you click on English, and then you'll be able to understand it and then you'll hear Ivan translating into English. Por favor.
Thank you. all the way from Colombia. So nice to be here. Giving us so much light. And this is the word that I want to bring up because I've loved when Fabrice talked about meditation. To me, I changed the word meditation for prayer because without a doubt, to arrive to prayer is precisely that, getting there. And Fabrice, I loved it. And yes, my mind associated that it replaced the word meditation for prayer. So my question is, how do I link this experience of presence, of being of no pressure, so light can come out? The light that we are can come out. How do we do this?
I think you create a little bit of silence, a little bit of space.
Nice.
And that happens by itself in one sense. There's just is there, like you said. It's just a way to when you give space,
Really, I'm leaving.
silence,
Listen to the
you something like that happens, is what I will say.
Mm. I like that a lot, Fabrice. It's simple and profound. So when you give silence and when you give space, something happens.
Yes.
Um, what about going into a prayer with an intention?
I will say I'm not a good person because I don't know. Honestly, I don't really. There is a story of two writers. One is Claudel, and the other is Saint John Perse. The two great French poets. Maybe Claudel is maybe more known than Saint John Perse. I think both get the Nobel Prize. At least Saint John Perse, I'm sure. And they were friends. Saint John Perse, Claudel is known because he was very intensively Christian. And there was one night they talked to each other, and Claudel tried to convince Saint John Perse to become Christian. And there was tender, was very terrible night. And they discussed, and Claudel tried to convince Saint John Perse that otherwise his soul is going to be lost. And Saint John Perse at the end, the middle of the night, said, I'm saved by naissance. I'm saved by, how you say, by naissance? How you say that?
Naissance
By
is
birth?
birth.
By birth?
Is
By
birth.
birth. I'm saved by birth. And it's very, it's really amazing, this moment. And for me, meditation is for me discovering that I'm saved by birth. Just forget it. And I just have to come back to that.
Yeah.
I can't. For me, I'm completely in the side of Saint John Perse and not Claudel. But I like very much to read Claudel and I respect it. But for me, from my own experience, I forget very often. But sometimes I remember that I'm saved without no reason by birth. And I walk in the night and I see the star and I feel, oh, I'm saved with no reason. I look in the eyes of someone I love and I felt I'm saved with no reason. And for me, that was make me happy.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Christina.
Bonsoir Fabrice, and merci beaucoup. You said exactly what I could have said about your experiences with meditations and everything. So what I would like, I've been meditating for many years, and for me, until lately, meditation was exactly what you said. But lately, I've been studying with this Tibetan monk, this teacher, Tal knows him, it's Mingyu Rinpoche. And I started to try to bring some moment of awareness in my daily life. Not something I have to do. But when you said you talk about space and silence, just like small moments of silence in my day, in which I just stop, and I just stop in the pause between breathings. And so I just have these few moments of just space. But what my answer is, I would like to understand how is your practice?
What do you mean?
If you can, well, just explain me. Well, you know, everyone has the kind of practice. You said you have a Tibetan. Yes.
Yes. Do you want me to show? Do you want me
to
2
tell
minutes?
me?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
I mean,
2
you
minutes
start
of meditation.
breathing, you just say now open
Yes.
awareness. You just.
Okay. I do. I will show you how I do meditation.
Thank you for asking, Christina.
I will tell you how I do meditation. So
everyone was saying which kind of meditation.
Good.
The kind of meditation I'm doing is mindfulness awareness. Is really I will say the really
it's exactly mine.
Is really so first I will do it, and first we will do it, but first I describe. I'm doing what comes from the Buddha. Yeah. Everybody do meditation at the time of the Buddha. The Buddha didn't create meditation, but the idea of the Buddha is being calm doesn't bring happiness. We have to find peace, but to have clarity. Without clarity, it makes no sense. The very unique point of the Buddha is clarity. We have to unify mindfulness and awareness. Shine, Laktong, Shamatha, Vipassana, and so on, in different culture and different language. So that's what I'm doing. Now I show you how I'm doing it. So I sit, I try to just be there, and first I just listen. Whatever noise and sound, I just listen. All the silence, the car around me, I don't try to name it, to find if I like it or not. I'm just listening, whatever sound occur. That's the first strength. The second, I come back to my body. I sit and I let my body find its own seat in my chair, in my cushion, doesn't matter. I let my body finding in its own space. And in without moving, just being there. So I'm listening, and I'm going back to my own body as it is. Third, I pay a little bit of attention to my breathing without changing it. I let my breath come in and come out, but my breath is doing by itself. I have nothing to do. It's doing just, I'm breathing without having to check that I'm breathing. I don't need to control my breath. I just let it be as it is. Paying maybe a little bit more attention to the out breath. And now I have 3 strengths. I'm listening, I'm sitting, and I'm breathing. And it's okay. And the 4th strength is the attitude. I have nothing to achieve. I can just be open to whatever arrives. If I feel sad, I feel sad. If I feel sleepy, I feel sleepy. If I feel wonderful, I feel wonderful. I don't need to battle to attain anything. So there is listening, sitting, in-breath and out-breath. And this kind of confidence at the 4th strength. So we can do it longer, but that gives you a little bit, that one of the way I do many different kind of meditation, but that's the basis of what we doing. What is a little bit unusual is to start by listening. That not so many people doing that, but if I start by sitting, people are afraid, does I sit right? Does my sitting is correct? Does I have the right posture? If I'm talking about breath, does I'm breathing right? We are so afraid of not doing things right. By listening, you can't listening not good, or you have nothing to do. So that really bring you in the proper space of meditation. You're just listening. And you start to realize that you can just listening, and sometimes we're not listening, we're making label, oh yes, it's a car, or I don't like this noise. And you come back to the sound. And just by doing that, you're already entering into this dismantle of this bar to this frame that trap us. So that's the way.
Thank you, because it's a good point. Usually you start breathing or with the body or the breath, but starting with the listening can really change, as you said, everything. So I will, tomorrow morning, I will try.
We will see. It brings things, because I did that because I realized that when I was teaching meditation, people had so many obstacles. They always, I used to teach in Paris, opening evening on meditation every week. And every week, everybody start to ask questions. Should I practice eyes open, eyes closed? Should I have my arm like that, like that? But why do you ask this question? We're talking about meeting yourself. but everybody wants to do things right. So I decide I'm not talking anymore about any technical things and bringing the atmosphere. And after, because in the school I create, we have a lot of seminar, and the first seminar we bring people to meditation, the second seminar we bring them to confidence, and the third one I start to bring them to finding the posture and the body. But we don't start by that, because if we start by that, people get completely, it become a battle and not confident. So I is how and I was very happy. I thought I had a very good idea that I was, but I read 1 or 2 years ago a book on Alan Watts, and Alan Watts was giving the same advice. And I thought that's very funny that Alan Watts, who I really love, and I find someone I really respect a lot, I had the same idea that it will make sense to start by listening to understand the real meaning of meditation.
Wow.
Us Westerners, that we try to make everything in our mind and everything control.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Karen.
Well, this is, I think, a wonderful place to enter the conversation. Thank you so much, because my question to you, I was struck when you said early on in your life, you said, I am going to teach this without being a master, teach meditation, whatever. I can't remember your phrasing exactly. And we have been having a lot of conversation about meditation and what is and isn't. And I'm wondering, at any point, did you just want to come up with a whole other category or a way to understand this or describe this other than meditation? I'm not going to put language on it, but I'm just wondering for you whether the time that you've spent doing this, and trying to help people reinterpret what meditation is, rather than or other than going into a direct description of what you're talking about. Did you explore other language? Do you have thoughts about that? That's my curiosity.
Meditation is a very good word, because it comes the racine med, is the same like meditation, medicine, and is taking care, the root of meditation. So I really find it's strange that that we use the word meditation. I don't like too much mindfulness, but meditation it's really a great word, because of the etymology, and even in the literature, meditation was not what it is now, because in Descartes, meditation is not exactly the same. But in Descartes, meditation means an experience. It's very interesting that Descartes used to say meditation and not theory, or it was already in the direction we have to make an experience. So meditation, even if it's not exactly the same, have this root of medicine, and at the same time, the flavor of an experience that we have to do. So I find it's really I like very much this word.
And if you had to replace mindfulness, would you use presence or being?
Yes, presence. Mind is not too bad, but mindfulness, even if it's nice, mind is better than in English and in France. In France, it's a nightmare, because they call it pleine conscience, full consciousness. So that's a nightmare. So people in France have no chance to understand meditation. but mindfulness is not that it doesn't work, but I find it's not more mind than body, than art, presence, and relationship. Like in the first question, it's really we change the relation to our environment. So I find it's really so profound.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fabrice. Meg, hello.
Hi. I hope my frozen. Okay. So it sounds to me a lot of attention. And when you're speaking about saved by birth, first of all, it's interesting because Sarah Branchard is on this call and it's her birthday today. So I find this kind of a compilation when we are first born. We breathe for the first time. And it sounds like your work is really giving people permission to finally exhale from that which is perfect, or that self-torture, or all the chatter and rumination and numbing that can happen when we get caught up in the shoulds of the world. Like you say, the art of not giving a shit. Well, it's kind of like not shoulding on yourself, right? So my question for you, to liberate people from this perfection or notion that that's actually possible. And even when you call people to sit in meditation with you, what is the greatest, not even advice, because I know that you're all about everyone has to figure out themselves. I hear this from you over and over again, which I think is the best advice, be you. But I think since you're intentionally on this mission and you have this whole wonderful world of waking people up, it feels a little bit like that, to the beauty of the world. What would be the greatest gift to give someone on their birthday in this moment to perhaps exhale into life? Oh, by the way, I'm so happy that I'm a master's graduate with Tal and also the PhD student. So now in this world of conjecture as to what I'm going to do with my dissertation, I'm going to take this advice as my gift. So thank you, thank you.
It's difficult to question because the ego is so vast. It's really vast. I will say some things that maybe will be a little bit, I don't know, I will say that you have this word excellence in English. Excellence? No.
Excellence, yes?
Yes, yes. I will say finding your own excellence.
Ah, that's nice.
It's very strange. I'm going to tell you something very strange. I'm teaching meditation for, we have, I think now the largest community of meditation. But what I try is not to make people just calm down. I want to push them to find their own way finding their own way to be excellent.
Oh, I love
I find that make you so happy to find something, to work hard, to make effort, to try to find a way to express yourself. Thanks to your question, I can say that because I'm not just talking about meditation. I'm very much trying to push people to find excellence. We have a big problem here. We don't make the distinction between excellence and I'm finding my word, competition.
Achievement.
Achievement is a nice word, but now everything is performance. Do you
performance?
You have now you have to be perfect. You have to so I have a lot of I love great cook. I'm friend with a lot of great cook, and I'm preparing a lecture in 1 week in front of the most important chef of France. I'm very exciting. And they asked me to come to talking about that because there is a big problem. Our society don't understand excellence. They think excellence is unfair. But what I learned from meditation, by not fighting, not trying to be someone else, from that I can do a work that makes sense. I can engage in something art, but which is pure, make me happy. So for me, it's really important to push like I talk about chef because chef you can see, you can just make food. I know chefs who have 3-star chef, and I know how they work, and I talk a lot about them, and I'm friends with some who have three-star chef. I'm trying to convince Tal to come to Paris, so you
Ah,
get my and it's very nice for me to see how they work, because if they want to work as to be perfect, they have no chance to get to 3-star. The only way is to find their own way that no one else have done to finding the way of doing the best. And many never succeed because I gave you this example. I don't know if it's a good example, but many chefs try to do this, what they think is a good chef. And now with Instagram, they copy everyone. Sometimes you see someone who dare to be himself. So in one sense, you're thinking, but what I'm talking about when you look all what I said before, but in one sense, it's the same thing, because what I said in the beginning is not being afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of your humanity. Don't be afraid of your own vulnerability. And for me, that's the way to become, to find a kind of excellence. It's maybe more easy with great sportive. And I do many things. I teach meditation, I write books, and I'm also a podcast, which is one of the most important podcasts in France. And I receive someone who are one of the main coach for French sportive who win Olympic game. And he said, I read your books, and he said to me, I read your books, Fabrice, and I was very impressed because it's very close to what I said to some sportive. I was surprised that I have to tell them all the idea you have about how you should succeed will prevent you to succeed. You have to find your own feeling. You have to go back to your own experience. You have to create your own way. And it was very interesting the way he talked to me about how he worked with some of the greatest athletes, French athletes. So for me, I know it's very unusual because I didn't see that when I saw many Buddhist centers. I found it was really for me a problem. People get caught. And I really, for me, it's really important. Everybody have to find their own path, and it's different for everyone. Maybe someone will like to cook, someone will have to do sport, someone to write, someone to take care of children, someone. But finding something where you can manifest and become better. But become better, not to be perfect, but become better about what you are. And I find it's really important because that's the only way to make this world more happy. And because time go, it's very important for me to say that. It's really one of the things I want to say. We forget all the time because all the ideology of our time, that if the world stay, if the world have a chance to be still a place where people could live, is not because we will create a new theory that will save the world, with a new political system that never one have thought before us, but it's because there is one person somewhere who doing her best and that will change the people around her. And we never think about that. It's a terrible problem. We are paralyzed in our society because we think we have to be a hero, otherwise our act doesn't count. In France, maybe you know that there is this woman called Gisèle Pellicot. I don't know if you heard about her. Do you know about her, Gisèle Pellicot? No, it doesn't matter. But I find, like, by example, if I look back my own life, I was, like I said, oversensitive. and I was very bad at school. I never understood anything. And at one point, one teacher, when I was 14, told me, you don't like to do exams. I said, oh, no, 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 no. But in my class for 1 month, don't do any exams. You will only write an essay. I was 14. You will write 10 pages on the topic of what I'm talking this month, and I will give you a note on that. And this man changed my life. Maybe I write books because I love to write this 10 page. And I didn't have I couldn't do anything when I have exam. I lost my mind. And this man didn't, I'm sure, this man didn't have the feeling he do something great. He did something extraordinary. He don't remember. He was just doing his job. And every day I think about him and I said, oh, thanks him. And at one point, I thought I dreamed this story. And my parents gave me maybe 10 years ago some old paper, and I saw my paper at school, and he write at the second trimester. I was the first one in history. It was a history teacher, and he's writing, Fabrice is a very good student, but he just should study in other discipline. Because in math I was the last one, in French the last one, is everyone I was lost, but I was the first one in English because of him. But if you look our own life, everyone the same. We always have someone, maybe by intention, maybe by just, who do something for us that make us alive, and we have to do the same thing for others, and that's the only way we can save the world. And for me, that's the whole meaning of what I'm trying to say. And that is what makes us happy and what will save the world.
Wow.
That's a great gift. Thank you.
Thank you, Fabrice. A great gift indeed. We are unfortunately out of time. Sorry, Pilar, Adriana, and Galina. I also have so many more questions, but I think I will come to Paris then. No other choice. I'm so looking forward to continuing this conversation. We're so grateful for you being here, Fabrice. And you talked about excellence. I've not heard you talk about that before, and I love it. When Peter Drucker, who's considered the father of management studies, in his last essay before he passed away at the age of 94, he said, my whole life I had been looking for the secret to great leadership. And he said, I looked for it in characteristics and traits and lists. I didn't find it there. I found it in one place. I found it in authenticity. Authenticity, in being real. And I think the way you describe excellence is about finding your authentic self, that diamond in the rough that you can bring out and share with the world and make a difference, whether it's with a 14-year-old student or with the thousands of people who are attending your sessions week in and week out. We're very fortunate to have spent the time with you. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. And take good care of yourselves and others. Break those boundaries. Thank you, Fabrice, from the bottom of our heart.